Hello guys, I'm Savvy and welcome to another Kerbal Space Program video. In this one's going to be quite a journey today because we are going to be building a satellite that is from a comment that I received, which I'll put up on screen right now, which I mentioned near the end of the video, but I'll put it up right now. This was from Quad. That's how I know them as, and that's how I see them in my live streams, but they commented that I use a satellite, or I place a satellite through the wormhole and go into the other solar system. So you're probably wondering, like, for any vanilla players, you're probably wondering, like, well, what the heck am I talking about? So there is a mod, which I'll put all the mods in the description below that you could see, but this mod, it adds a whole new solar system, actually several solar systems, into one system that has a black hole at the center, and it's the Kcalbeloh system. At least I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's technically black hole, just rearranged differently. Kcalbeloh, which I think it is black hole backwards. So that'll be in the description down below, along with all the other mods that I have. But I'm building a satellite that's going to be going there. But the only problem is that, which I'll mention later, but I'll mention it now, is that communication-wise, it's pretty much impossible to kind of move around without having really strong communications because the system is super far away. So any future missions, like let's say you have a fully established comms network throughout the entire Kerbal system, then you might be able to have a better chance of getting some connection there, or you might have to have a satellite that's super far out and making sure that it connects closely to the other planets or other system, because again, it is super far away. But what I'm building here is this rocket. I have a very simple satellite, no science, no nothing on it, because again, having no communication means that I won't be able to send any science, but this is just kind of an object that I'm just placing outside of the, or through, I should say, the wormhole. So as you can see, I'm putting I put an inline stabilizer in the center. I also put a little bit of more of the liquid fuel kind of attached on the side of that middle stage. Just want to make sure that I have enough. So if you guys are wondering where the wormhole is that allows us to travel, it's actually, so if you don't have the Outer Planets mod, which I do, but if you don't have that, it's around Jewel. It orbits around Jewel, pretty far orbit. It orbits it like a moon, but it's a wormhole instead. But if you have the Outer Planets mod, it's around Sarnus. So we're going to be going to Sarnus in order for us to get to the wormhole, in order for us to travel to the solar system, or to the Kcalbeloh system. And the other thing is that the system, with it being huge, since it consists of multiple systems, you would need like probably tons of delta V in order to travel everywhere that you want. Because the distance is quite far. Because since they're their own systems, their distances are pretty similar to that of what the Kerbal system is, where, you know, if you go from the black hole to one of the star systems that you end up in, which there's one specifically when you enter or you exit out of the wormhole, that distance from that star system to the black hole probably is the distance between Kerbin and Sarnus. Probably larger, if not give or take a few million meters maybe, but it is of quite a far distance. So you can only imagine, unless you actually have the mod yourself, how much delta V it'll actually be you'll be using for those missions. But anyway, I decided to use asparagus staging for this as well, which is pretty good. For tanks there with them stacked on top of each other, I made sure that everything was good. The only thing that I forgot to do, as you'll see in a second, is I forgot to move the bottom stage, or that middle stage, with the engines to the other 4 engines that are going off. Otherwise, as you saw there, we weren't taking off. So I fixed it, and now we're actually on our way. And what I mean by a long journey for this is, if you think that Jewel is very far away, Sarnus is much farther. I'd say the distance between Jool and Sarnus is pretty much the distance between maybe Kerbin and Dres. So with Duna in between, so that's pretty far away. Or you could probably say that Kerbin and Jool, that distance there, that gap there, is pretty much the distance between Jool and Sarnus. And not to mention that in the other outer planets, there's Nidon, which is Neptune. Sarnus is Saturn, pretty much. Nidon is Neptune. Erlum is Uranus, and then Plock is Pluto, which Elu is actually around Jool, which is interesting. In the outer planets mod, it moves Elu to the orbit around Jool, and then it replaces what Elu would be the farthest instead with Plock, which Plock is Pluto, which is really far, and it has that weird eccentric orbit. But as I'm launching here, you can see that we are having some wobbliness here, but it wasn't anything too crazy. We still had a lot of stability there. And this bottom stage here worked wonders because we were able to get some far distance because not only was I able to get into orbit with it, but I was able to get out of Kerbin's sphere of influence with it as well. And as I built this too, I put a little bit more of those communication relays there, probably the basic ones that you get when you start the game or when you get the first tier of upgrades in the research and development center. But I decided not to bring out the large relay antenna just yet until I'm farther out because I noticed that it blocks the solar panels. But as we go further along, I almost forgot at one point, which with our distance there, yeah, I almost totally forgot. But I start marking my path there, and I ran into a slight problem, but I was able to correct it, but it costs quite a bit of delta V that you'll see here soon, because I wasn't really sure about the window of opportunity to get to Sarnus, which I thought it was at the right position, but I wasn't, so I was kind of tweaking with this a little bit. As you could see, it took me a little bit to figure out, like, oh, well, this isn't working. Plus, it looked as if that Sarnus has a tiny bit of a strange orbit, and then I finally saw that I had some kind of close encounter with it, but it wasn't that close at all. So then I'm like, okay, we're going to get rid of this, and then we're going to try it again. We're going to speed up time a lot, and then we're going to do this again. So then I decided to do it again after I sped up some time, and then I just kind of, even though we didn't get a close encounter with that, I'm just kind of like, okay, we're just going to go in this direction, and we're going to go with it. And turns out that I wasn't that far off anyway. It actually worked out in the end, which you'll see here. Like I said, I had to make those course corrections though, but it was good. It was good. So yeah, it just took a lot of burning because the first stage ran out of fuel, and then the stage above that one has a Terrier engine, which the Terrier engine is very good for efficient burning when it comes to being in the vacuum, but not for, you know, not for fast travel, unlike other engines that you might use. But that one was pretty smooth, I'd say. And we have plenty of delta V for that. And this vessel alone, I think, had about 9,000 delta V in total, which is actually way more than enough for what I wanted to do because I had like over 1,000, probably about 2,000 delta V left. But as I said before, the only problem with that is the fact that going through the going through the wormhole, I could still use the engine, but I have to use it at full throttle or no throttle with no corrections whatsoever with our direction, unfortunately. But as you can see, we get our trajectory there, and then I start messing with it a little bit by doing anti-normal, and then I finally got an encounter with Sarnus, and then I start making more corrections, which took over 300 delta V, which wasn't too bad. And I was thinking either do I want to really just run into the wormhole, and you can see that I have it targeted right there. that yellow line that's there, that is where the wormhole is. It's pretty far out compared to the other moons of Sarnus. Um, I don't know. I don't know why it's actually that far out. I mean, it'd be cool if like it was within the systems. I don't know if it might have messed with physics, probably because of it being closer or something. I think that's the same with Jewel as well. But I finally got an encounter with it, and I was going into the side where I wanted to slow down. So I decided to go on the left side of Sarnus from that perspective. So then I got that encounter, and then I just started speeding up time. Now, this is where the journey takes forever, because it takes like, oh gosh, what, like 3 years to get to Sarnus with that kind of technology that you have there, because there's not like a warp drive or anything that we're going to be using. It's just simple rockets and everything. And I didn't really use any gravity assists or anything like that. We just kind of went straight for Sarnus, which that's how I usually play this game. I know like Matt Lown that plays Kerbal Space Program religiously, with the content that they do a lot of the gravity assists and everything, which is really efficient, honestly, because if it was possible, I would have gotten a gravity assist with Jewel to get to go faster to Sarnus, but yeah, this is in creative mode and there's no real like time constraints for things, and this is just a one-off video of another Kerbal video that I wanted to do, that I wanted to show you guys that I got in a suggestion for. Um, there might be some more. There might be more rover videos here soon, because I definitely want to have a rover placed on Duna. I definitely want a rover placed on Moho, which Moho is going to be kind of tricky, but with creative mode, it might be a lot easier to do that, because for that one, we're going to be using nuclear engines. And I think nuclear engines are going to be very useful for that, because that's really good efficiency. And I could have done nuclear engines here, but I just didn't really see the need to. But we make it to our maneuver node, and then I just start burning in that correction. That course correction there is for us to get that encounter. And then also, as we get to the wormhole, once I get into orbit around Sarnus, what ends up happening is that I decide to burn towards the target, which is the wormhole, because it was going to take so many corrections probably just to meet up with the wormhole. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna quick save real quick, and I'm just gonna just decide to burn right towards it. So you'll see that here in a minute. I'm kind of like preemptively talking about things that's going to happen. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but just kind of something to kind of talk about as we're making our way there. But yeah, you can see that distance there. I mean, look how big that distance is. Now that I look at it, yeah, it looks as if like the distance from Kerbin to Jewel is pretty much the same distance from Jewel to Sarnus, which Sarnus is the next planet to Jewel. So it's crazy. And that's pretty much like scaled to how, not a one-to-one scale obviously, but like that's how the distance is between, Jupiter and Saturn, and then Saturn to Uranus, and then Uranus to Neptune, etc., etc. Like the distances are very far away compared to how the inner planets' distances are, because the inner planets, their distance between each other are relatively close compared to all the other planets that are around. Uh, Dres isn't a planet, but I guess in this game it's considered one. It's just a giant asteroid. It's the largest asteroid. It actually is large enough for its gravity in order for it to have a sphere like that, because yeah, if it has very low gravity, it's going to be like a weird shape. That's why all those asteroids are weird shapes, because they're not large enough for its gravity to kind of shape in it, make it spherical, I guess. But we make it to Sarnus, as you can see, and we're on the dark side. You can see like a little lightning flash that was there a second ago. And we decide to just burn, 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 again with the Terrier engine being very slow when it comes to burning here. But we eventually get ourselves into orbit here. And one of the coolest places around Sarnus is Tecto, which is that really bright green or like aqua looking, or I guess turquoise looking ring that's there. it's a really cool place to go to, and I'd love to do a video on that. I mean, pretty much we'll do a video on every single planet that we visit. And I guess this Let's Play kind of thing might be just these videos here, but I might want to do like an actual, uniform type of Let's Play with Kerbal Space Program, career mode, as I'm doing that with my live stream as well. But here's the part that I was talking about earlier where I'm just like, yeah, this is going to take a while because the way that my orbit is, it's very strange. So I'm like, you know what if I just quick save and then just burn towards my target directly? And it actually worked, but I had to make slight adjustments, and I didn't want to show off the wormhole just yet because for some of you that might be new, if you haven't seen my live streams, because I have actually gone through that during one of my live streams, but I would say that kind of leaving a surprise there for you guys. And we're gonna get to a part where you're gonna hear me in real time as I was recording this for the part that we're going to go through, because I wanted to have it slowed down for you guys so that way you get the full feel of it. And I actually went in the wormhole in a direction that I never went before, or at least faced the camera in a direction that I never did before. But I just slowly inch my way more and more towards the wormhole. And eventually we'll get there. But I think I'm going to leave this part of the video here so that way you guys can hear my real-time voice, and we'll go through that wormhole with ease. I'm gonna say it's pretty freaky, but yeah, let's go to the real me right now. There it is, guys. It's right in the distance. It's kind of hard to see, but I will turn up the brightness for this part. And this is kind of freaky, so watch out what's gonna happen. So I need to lift myself up a little bit. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna have to turn myself towards the right side of me, or left side from this angle, because I need to make sure that I'm actually going inside the wormhole. So I'm going to angle myself where I'm actually facing the correct direction, which is going to be right here. Right there. Because I got to turn, and then I also got to go up as well, because we want to go straight through into that. And then I'm going to turn again, and we want to go up. We want to head up in this direction once we get that sorted. Making sure that we're at the right trajectory. Yep, and there we go. We're going up. And boom, just like that. And you could see, just look at that purple line there. That's some weird gravity going on there, because it's acting as if like this is some kind of gravitational force that's going to fling us out, but that's not necessarily what's going to happen. So we're going to face towards our target again. If I can find the target here on the nav ball. Oh, I don't have it as a target anymore. Can I set this as my target again? Set as target, thank you, I think. Yeah. No? Okay, well, that's fine. I'm gonna be facing towards it anyway, which I think is this way. Yep, there it is. It's right there. So I'm gonna just speed up time a little bit more so we can get closer to it. And this part is just gonna be really freaky. Always scares me going up to this. It's actually quite large compared to our vessel, so brace yourselves. So as we enter, okay, there it is. Oh my god, that is so freaky. Oh my god. But look, you could see that there's this other, like there's a bright dot there, there's another body, there's even this here, which is the black hole. But watch, we're gonna keep going. And this is weird how these pop up too. Like where our flags are, it's so strange, but we're gonna get a little bit closer. And look what's happening before us. Space-time is bending around our vessel. Things seem to get squished as we go inside. It's like a sphere. It's like we're inside a sphere. This is how it's distorting our visual here. You can see that we're getting closer, but look, warning vessel out of control due to strong space-time distortion. So I'm just gonna, and our vessel's gonna go nuts because gravity is so strange here. But we're gonna be going through this, and you can see that we're passing through behind us. But then, whoa. Whoa, that is freaky. That is scary. And we're in just blank space, but as we come out, we're warping out now. And guess what? We're on the other side. I mean, look at that. I'm going to speed up a little bit more. Space-time has returned to normal. Look where we are. We're in a whole new solar system. Because if we warp here, look at that. A whole other solar system. This is crazy. But the problem is that we don't have any connection. Limited probe control. So we can burn, but we can't turn at all. Because we have no communications with the Kerbal Space Center. So where we're going to be going into orbit? Well, we're going to be going into orbit around Sunork, this beautiful star out of this one solar system that is of 3 plus the black hole that is at the center. Which is this huge, gigantic black hole. But yeah, that is pretty much how you get to this other solar system with this mod. That is pretty freaky, and I can't zoom in anymore for some reason. But yep, that is pretty cool, not gonna lie. And now we're out of its sphere of influence. But the planet that's next to us is a ringed planet, it looks like. Which I think is pretty cool. And you can see the black hole from beyond there as well. You could even see the other stars, that one and that one, which are pretty cool. It's a really cool. Very, very, very cool. And I really do like this system. And in my live streams, we're probably going to be exploring this here in the near future, so it's going to be quite exciting. But I think that's going to be it for this episode of, well, not really episode, but video of Kerbal Space Program. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this, and let me know what you guys think down below, and let me know what other suggestions you may have. I actually have a post up for you guys that you can comment on. In the post sections when you go into my main channel page where it asks what kind of video suggestions you guys want to give. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'd like to also give a shout out to all of my channel members as well, whose names I'll put up on the screen right now. If you are interested in getting exclusive emotes during live streams and as well as exclusive content on the channel, you can hit that join button down below and become a member. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. I'd really appreciate that. I've been Savvy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. See you later.